Welcome everybody into Tom Sox Conversations here today with a player from your inaugural 2015 team, Cris Perez, who came to the Tom Sox from Duke University and finished his career up at USC and is now with the Cincinnati Reds. But Cris, good to have you on today.
It's good to be here. It's good to see you.
So before you came into Charlottesville, you had some expectations back in the Cape League for the first few weeks of the season and performed pretty well there, and then came to Charlottesville and mashed the ball. The only player in Tom Sox history to have multiple multi-home run games. How did the Cape sort of help you develop yourself, and then especially going into your time with Charlottesville?
Well, I struggle to characterize my time on the Cape as successful. The funny thing is that the summer that led me to Charlottesville was my second stint on the Cape. Neither of which lasted for more than 2 weeks. So I was especially thankful for the Tom Sox and welcoming me, and my head coach at the time, Chris Pollard, had a good relationship with the folks that ran the team. So they welcomed me in, and it was great. I mean, it was good to start playing again every day and to get a chance to contribute to a team. When I was on the Cape, it was sort of difficult to get in there, and I had very limited opportunities. And I think for my own personal development, it was good. But had I gotten the opportunity to stay longer and stay in a similar role for an extended period of time, I don't know if it would have been the best thing. So making that transition, even though it wasn't fully in my control, I think was very good for me. And I think that Charlottesville was a great place to develop and to learn about myself, among other things. And it was a good summer. It wasn't a great summer personally, but it was a good summer, and it was a good time with a good group of guys that cared about the game, and I had a lot of fun both on and off the field.
And you mentioned trying to improve and also make a bunch of good contributions to the team. Are there any moments that you still remember or that still stick out to you from that summer?
Well, I think the first couple weeks of just getting there and getting to know all the guys and getting a lot of grief from guys about coming from the Cape, and reminding them that there was a reason I was there and I wasn't on the Cape. So it was kind of funny personally early on, and just engaging with the guys. I remember, in terms of on the field moments, there was, I forget where we were, but it was just so strange. Like I hit 2 home runs in the same inning, which was like the oddest thing, and not something that I ever imagined or something that I had planned for or anything like that. And so I think my parents really found that, enjoyed that, and my dad especially. So things like that were really fun, and just I think summer baseball in a way is like baseball in its purest form, and I enjoyed that part of it for sure.
Do you still keep up with anyone from that 2015 team?
There's a few that I still follow their careers, and have had some relationship with over the past few years. I honestly wish I would do better with that. But Seth Lancaster is one that I've enjoyed following his career from afar, and is someone that I struck a bond with while I was there. And it's good to see him doing well, and and it's always fun to root for guys like that from afar, and see their careers blossom. And that extends from Charlottesville to my time at Duke and at USC, and it's cool to have played in places where people were more talented than I was, and got to play a lot longer than I did. And so it's fun to see their careers develop, and to see what they've turned into, and to feel like as part of their journey to get to the big leagues or to get to minor league baseball, or to wherever their careers lead them. And I think there's numerous examples of that from Charlottesville and from other places that I played as an amateur player, and it's something that I take pride in, and it's cool to to be part of that, and to have those relationships for sure.
So, what do you feel like you took away most from that 2015 summer, going into Duke, putting together a solid season there, and then the same at USC the year after?
Well, I think in general, summer baseball is sort of like a tease into what professional baseball could be like, and just the opportunity to focus on baseball. which I think is, not to say that I wouldn't have focused more on school, but I think focusing a little bit more on baseball and taking things seriously was something that, I wish I would have done a little bit better job with. Not that I didn't take things seriously, but, that extra edge and that extra, caring about being extremely successful and taking care of all the little details. And, I think that a place like Charlottesville is somewhere that really allows for growth in that area. I mean, it's you're sort of on your own. You don't have school, you don't have the stress of class and the stress of performing and winning games the same way that you do it in a structured collegiate baseball season. So there's a lot of room for growth and a lot of room for figuring out who you are and who you want to be and what your career wants, what you want your career to look like. And I think that was something that I learned a little bit about myself while I was at while I was in Charlottesville, and while I played in the Valley, and the bus rides and the places I'd never been before, and the strange towns, or the cool places that I never thought I'd see, or the bus rides through the mountains and things like that you really get a chance to take in when you're not worrying about school or anything like that. So I did enjoy my time there quite a bit, and I enjoyed my host family. The Raymonds were extremely open to having me, and really made me feel like part of the family. And I think it wouldn't have been the experience that it was had it not been for them either. So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention their contribution to my summer, for sure.
Absolutely. Is there anything specific you feel like you learned that helped you improve going into your last two seasons?
Well, I think honestly, I mean, it was probably the best my swing felt, or at least one of the best periods where my swing felt good throughout my college career. And aside from that, I guess the challenge of swinging a wood bat, I think, makes you figure some things out. So doing that, I think, was especially developmental, and I think just getting a chance to catch and play, frequently, and getting a lot of innings and getting a lot of experience. And it's not an extremely long season. It's a 30 or 40 game season that is played in Charlottesville, and so it's a good opportunity to sort of get into a rhythm without the extreme physical toll that you might experience in other places. So I found it a good balance, and it's part of the reason why I wanted to go play there, and the allure of the new team and the new facility and everything. And so I think that all those things together made for a good summer.
Yeah, absolutely. So now you've moved on from the playing side, and you've moved over more to the coaching side of the game, and working as a scouting assistant as well as a minor league coach with the Cincinnati Reds. Can you just describe how that came to you, and what you walk us through what you do every day for the Reds?
Yeah, so it's a really interesting thing in that I'm on the major league coaching staff, and yet my roles are very varied, and it ranges from on-field stuff to throwing BP where it fits, to working with the catchers, to playing catch with our pitchers and catching flat grounds, catching bullpens, and to more computer-based stuff, to SQL and R and Excel, and a lot of reading, looking at heat maps and trying to develop reports for people that we play against. So it's sort of a very broad thing. And likewise is not something I ever, I've said this numerous times, but not something I ever imagined I'd get to do. When I finished playing and took the uniform off the last time, I didn't really think I'd get to wear baseball pants again. And that was sort of a little thing that is a really big thing. And I think that part of it was really special for me, and something that I really appreciated in the Reds allowing me to do and continuing to allow me to do, because I feel like at my age too, it sort of allows me to take some stress off some of the older coaches, or some of the guys that have been around for a while, who have a lot more mileage on their throwing arms than I do. So, if it fits to play catch with a pitcher, play catch with a catcher, or throw a BP here and there, I feel like contributing to the coaching staff in that way and allowing them to get a breather every once in a while is good. And then obviously on the advanced scouting side, that's sort of my primary obligation. And so getting our team ready and trying to develop a game plan and trying to figure out how to get guys out, I think has been really fun for me and something that I've gotten to learn a lot about, because it wasn't something I had a lot of experience with outside of playing before I got here. So I'm very thankful for the Reds in allowing me to do that and to grow in so many different ways, because this role for me, it was definitely a role that I grew into. When I showed up, I had no idea what I was doing, and I tried to not show that and try to just sort of feed off of those around me and try to listen more than I spoke. And it's still something I do today. I mean, I'm around people who've been in the game for longer than I've been alive. So it's a humbling thing, and it's something that I'm very grateful for.
Are you still working with and traveling with the Reds this season, although it's very modified?
Yeah, no, I am. I actually got back from a road trip around midnight last night. We were in Detroit. So I think, granted, we have one of the easier travel schedules in the country in Major League Baseball, just because of our location and our division. Our flights in the division are 45 minutes or an hour and a half at longest. So I will be, in addition to the way in which we travel, I will be the last to complain about the travel schedule. But it is a little bit of a grind, and it's a little different than the job I had before this, where I was not 9 to 5, but a pretty structured Monday to Friday work schedule and travel for work here and there. Now it's sort of living out of a suitcase for 6 months, and even this year that travel is a little different. And the season's obviously a lot shorter. It is a little bit of a grind, and it's funny because this was our first road trip since obviously September of last year. So it was a little strange for me just to get back in the rhythm of it. And, it's not something that I've spent my life doing. So getting back into the rhythm and getting back into, packing a suitcase and remembering all the things I need and all the little things like that. In addition to being able, being prepared to do my job on the road, which is an adjustment also, is, getting used to being on the road 50% of the time. I mean, it's not I'll figure it out when I get back home. And it's like, well, I'm going to be gone half the time. So I have to get used to paying bills and doing things while I'm not in my sleeping in my own bed and in my apartment. So, but that part of it has been, I can't overstate how much, how cool it is and how fun it is and how surreal it is at times to be with the team and to be traveling with the team and to be around the guys all the time. And just such an awesome way to learn about competing and, all the things that go into being a Major League Baseball player that folks don't get to see, and how hard it really is, because it is more challenging than I could describe. And I don't have to go through it. So I have a deep respect for those guys, for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of that behind the scenes stuff is stuff that people don't necessarily see and just take for granted. But once you actually see and know what's going on, you get an appreciation for just how advanced everything is.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all I got for you. So thanks so much for joining us again today.
Well, thank you for having me. I'll repeat this, but I'm so happy that the Tom Sox are doing this and allowing for people to develop in ways that will contribute to their careers. And, I feel like when I was in college and when I was in Charlottesville, it's such an early stage in life where you have like so many opportunities and so many things to do and figure out who you want to be and what you want to do. And so I think it's really cool what Charlottesville's done and what the Tom Sox have done, and with the players and with all the staff and everything. So it's been cool to watch from afar.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. And fans, be sure check out the Tom Sox and the Valley League on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and also subscribe to Tom Sox Conversations podcast on on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But Cris, thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time.